Hello, small steppers. How are you guys doing? Let me type in here. If you've never been here, you type in the little chat area your questions and I answer them. But before, can you see and hear me? Always want to do that test before I go any further to make sure that everybody is at least able to negotiate this thing. So I won't waste my breath or your ears until I hear somebody. Just type in yes. Yes, loud and clear, Anita. Thank you very much. Good. The way it works is you put your questions in. Thank you, Travis. Put your questions in and I answer them. Pretty straightforward stuff. Thanks, Johanna. I am going to read a couple pre-subs. Thanks, Lorraine, while you, and welcome everybody. Good group today. This is a good, okay, good timing. Good time of the Q&A. Okay, so I'm going to read a couple things, and you guys can put questions in. These are emails that I got. So listen to this. Not really a question, but she wanted to say this. So this is it. I had one day off from work and had plans to be super productive. However, I never got out of my pajamas, spending the day mostly lying on my sofa. Late in the evening, I thought of all the things I didn't do that were on my list, and I was okay with it. Formerly, I would have beaten myself up using lots of horrible self-talk and feeling like a failure who would never accomplish anything. Instead, I was gentle with myself and genuinely at ease with my decision to take care of myself after what had been a stressful few days. Lots of feelings surfaced, including what seemed like grief over losing the old me. I was in uncharted territory with being kind and forgiving to me. There were tears and, better yet, an even greater sense of accomplishment, and I wasn't afraid that one day was going to stop my progress. Such wonderful inner work going on here. I mean, you guys listen to this? Don't make the mistake to think, so it's not a mistake. What I will say is the small stepping process, and this person, thank you for emailing me because it's such an incredible thing. This is the baseline. Yeah, you like this. This is the baseline. What I look at as the perfect platform from which growth can take place. So it's weird to think, so you're happy that somebody came home and sat on a couch and didn't do anything. And the answer is yes, because it's not what she does most of the time. She had a rough couple days. She chose to do that, didn't feel bad about it, and didn't beat herself up over it. Now we can get some work done. I'm trying to remove this like self-criticism, self-judgment. I can't do this. I've never done this. That's the stuff that makes us push through something with too much willpower until we burn out. And then we really don't do anything. Taking a little break, because we need breaks. So taking a little break now and then is exactly what you need to do to then grow from that place. So this is just phenomenal stuff that I'm hearing. And you wouldn't find this obviously in any diet or quick fix or thing like, lose weight in this, lose weight in this much time, because that's not, that just moves you, pushes you through the process. This is a process of you learning about yourselves and what you're able to do and not, so that you're always growing and evolving. And that sometimes means taking breaks. It's just what it is. And giving yourself license to do that, one, and two, knowing that that's the best thing in some cases, that you don't do all the steps on your list on a given day because of what happened on that given day. That's the empowerment that you guys get that I cannot deliver for you. I can teach you the system, but I cannot teach you that unless you enroll in this process and become more aware of what this does for you by being in charge of your own list and not the other way around. Okay. Oh, good. Whoa. Elizabeth, busted big with and I'll read you another email in a second. So listen to this, broadcasting to the room. First, I wanted to share a win. This morning, I noticed I naturally started doing my balancing exercises while making my coffee this morning. Boom. A step I married to brushing my teeth. Phenomenal. It just happened naturally. Second, my balancing exercise while making my coffee this morning, a step I married to my brushing my teeth. So she's got making the coffee, brushing the teeth, and doing the step of balancing exercises. All part of the coffee she probably does automatically, and the teeth brushing she definitely does automatically because most of us do. And so she married a new step to that. That's exactly the way to roll here. Then you don't have to think about it. More on that in a second. This is why I'm so adamant about people actually maintaining a physical list. If for no other reason, then you don't have to keep it straight here. We have enough going on up here that's taking up all of our space. So if you have it on a list that you can look at, you don't have to think, did I do this on the list? What's on my list? Did I forget something on my list? It's there. Like any other to-do list, but it's there. You don't have to, take extra time. Anyway, second, I'm already feeling some anxiousness about the next 3 months, Nutty Nut Nut holiday time. Okay, this is great. This is good stuff. I didn't even clue in. Can you talk a little bit about this since I'm on week 11 and we'll soon be out of the nest and on my own? More on that today, because I'm noticing that the biggest bulk of people that started in that first weekend, you guys are like 3 weeks. About 3 weeks. Yes, about 3 weeks from finishing, which is crazy because this is like the first group. You guys are the flagship group that came through this thing, and so you'll start to hear me. For those of you who are new to the program, you'll get this too later on, but you're going to start hearing me get kind of like a protective parent. I want to make sure you are well equipped to then go into the world, and so some tips and tools are to follow in that regard about going a little bit overboard in the list, like printing out multiple copies, setting alarms on your phone. In the first few weeks without the daily emails and the weekly videos, it's crucial to be a little more hyper engaged. What I always say is, and Elizabeth and to all members, during this process, most of you overwhelmingly did read the daily emails, did watch the weekly videos, have come to these live Q&As. You have carved out time for yourself to do this program. Now when week 12 ends, guess what? You have free time now. You have additional free time, more than you even had before. You carved out time to do all the things that were part of this program, and then now they're not there anymore. That means you've got this bulk of time. I mean, it could be 20, 30 minutes a week as a small stepper. That's massive. That now you can do something cool with or not, but just be aware that you did that, you made that happen. So super, super cool. So holidays, I'm going to write that on my list, and I'm going to address that today. Okay. More on that in a second, Elizabeth. Thanks. Broadcast moment comment. Jamie, how do you deal with those moments of mindlessness where you say eat something or have me, not me slip up? I'm over the guilt of those slips, but want to have them happen less to me and more me mod. Got it. Listen, this is the crux of anyone's issue with regard to food or exercise or anything. I mean, there's been days where I go, listen, I like it in my car. This happened within the last couple months. I've got like some food in my car, and I go, I'm not really hungry. It was bananas because I'm like crazy about bananas. Anyway, I had bananas in my car, and I'm driving down, and I think, I'll have a banana, and I thought to myself, I'm actually not that hungry. So that was a good moment, right? Not that hungry. I'll eat it later. And I put on a podcast or a song that I'm listening to, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not hungry. I'll eat that later. As I'm peeling a banana and eating it, like literally, I was in my brain going, yeah, I don't need to eat. I just don't feel that hungry. And I'm eating. It was the weirdest thing. My body was on autopilot. The way that you handle that is that you don't address that moment particularly. You address all the other moments. This is why small stepping is I love it so much, is because it's the breadth of direction in a small steps list is huge. It means that you have deep breaths, and you have maybe a food step, but you have a movement step and all these different creativity step. And what you're doing is building in more mindfulness, if you want to use that word, but more attention is how I look at it throughout your day. Sweat less about the moments where you mindlessly eat. They're going to happen. And by the way, they're going to happen for forever. You can't make them go away. The way you minimize them, and like you said, be the more you in that moment, is just to build in more steps throughout your day of little cracks in that wall of behavior, little moments where you wake up. That's why I like doing a deep breath, one deep breath every half hour. One deep breath every half hour. Makes a great step for somebody if you want to do it. And you set an alarm on your phone. I'll say it again, that app that I use is AIDA. I'm not connected to them, not financially or otherwise. But you can set a custom alarm on your phone that goes off every half hour, and you can name it. So it comes up on your phone, it goes deep breath, and you go, that will do two things. One, break up your day with those moments, but also it will lead into more moments of awareness because you're used to having your day broken up in just little chunks where you have a little moment to yourself. what you're going to then find is you're going to come around those donuts or the cookies or whatever somebody brings to work. And all of a sudden, one day you're going to find yourself reaching for that. And then the light goes off and you go, do I want this or not? And I'll say this again, I'm trying to be very clear about this. It's not that the awareness is going to mean you don't get that cookie. It just means it becomes a choice in that moment. That's all I want for anybody here. I don't want somebody to go, oh, now I'm aware, now I can't have that. I want somebody to go, now I'm aware, do I want this or not? If you say I can't have it, then you're being led by external things. If you say, you know what, I actually don't want this right now, or you say, I actually want this right now. Either way, there's no regret or guilt or shame afterwards. That's the ball game, because then you can continue growing in your life in a multitude of ways. Dig? I'm trying to remove this crap that we all, including me, feel. We remove it, then we go, okay, what do I want to do with my life now that I got all this baggage torn off? And that's how we roll on that. So thank you, Jamie, for busting that out. Good. Okay, Sarah. I have an art step that I just am not making a priority. Okay. I dropped it from 5 minutes a day to 1 minute per day. After a couple of weeks of just not making it a priority, I dropped it off because it bugged me each day journaling that I didn't do it. Can you talk about mindset surrounding dropping steps off a list for a while if you aren't feeling it? Yeah, this is the me, not me. I mean, this is the me, not me, because the fact of the matter is, as difficult as it is for us to remove a list, again, for those of you who have just joined the program, the conversation of failure or what is progress and success will be ongoing for every live Q&A I do with smallsteppers.com forever. Because no matter where you are in that process, it feels weird to drop something off. It is the solution to that is to revisit your first task. Because in that is, and if it's not there, get it in there. But in there is a decision where you go, I'm okay if art isn't a priority for me and I don't care. It's not. I'm trying to avoid this. You going, God, this is. I'll use myself as an example. Music. You guys have heard me talk about my music step a lot. The reason why I brought my music step in at a minimal amount, and you're welcome, Jamie, which is just putting my hands on my guitar once a week, is because people would say, oh, hey, Sid, do you still play music? And I would say no. And I would feel not good about that. I would, and man, maybe that wasn't me, but I really think it was. It was like, I realized in those moments where I go, I wish I were. Okay, now if I wish I were, then that is something on my first task. I play music. It would be on my first task. So then I small step into that to make that a reality. Sarah, frankly, maybe art is just not in the place in your life right now, and that's totally okay. There's no external thing that says, Sarah, you got to be doing an art step. If you feel like, I wish I were doing it, then you got to figure out a way. And by the way, it does not have to be a daily step. It can be 10 minutes on the weekends. It can be 15 minutes on Saturday morning, and that is your step. And that gives you this really great way to start relaxing on your weekend. Again, steps don't have to be daily. They don't even have to be weekly. They can be monthly, but it's on your radar. And when you do the step, even if it's minimal, like once a week, you then accomplish it and you get that feeling of what it's like to do that thing. And that will lead you to eventually do it again and again and again, and maybe build into that step depending on how it fits into your life. So the mindset around dropping steps is simply like, regardless of how you feel in that moment, who is that person? Because you'll feel maybe like, oh, now I really should, I hate the word should for that reason. I really should have that step, but maybe that ain't you right now. It could be you 10 minutes from now. I don't know. It changes. Okay. So she says, cool. I like the idea of a weekend step. Mind blowing. Yeah. Because again, we have this she says, that fits better in my life. There you go. That's why I don't prescribe steps and I don't prescribe do this on day 4, because I don't know what people's lives are like. And it's not my job to know. It's my job to empower you to figure out how to bring more cool stuff in your life in a way that fits into your life that doesn't make you burn out. Sarah wasn't enjoying the art step. If you're not enjoying the art step, you're not going to or you'll continue it until you burn out and then hate it. If you go, you know what, I get up in the morning on Saturday and I pour myself a cup of coffee. What an awesome time to just like get my sketchbook out and just sit outside for 10 minutes. 10 minutes instead of reading the paper. I'll delay my paper reading for 10 minutes and just sketch something. Maybe you're a painter, but maybe the hassle of getting all your oils out in the easel is prohibitive. So for now, charcoal and paper, pencil and paper, just the process of this is what will improve your life and lower your overall stress. Dig? Good. I always wait to as if there's somebody's going to answer. Okay. Okay. I think I got everybody. I'm going to read one more email. Elizabeth, don't you think that I forgot about you, because I didn't. I just want to read one more email. And then I will talk about the holiday season. So, Tina says, I wanted to thank, there's a pre-sub and I can't hear. Okay. I want to thank you so much for archiving the Q&As each week. By the way, you guys, even if you visited one, if you got a few minutes, bust into an archived Q&A. Also, ever since the second task has been assigned, and if somebody's not on the second task yet, don't stress out about it. You'll get to it, but you'll see it. Anyway, my weeks have been busier than usual, and I don't feel like I've been able to give it the same attention I gave the first task. Hence, I was starting to beat myself up a bit about it. Then I listened to this week's podcast, Into the Think. So if you guys don't know, I have a podcast, Approaching the Natural. It's free. It's a really good adjunct to this system too. So if you have time, great if you're in your car. And it was so helpful. I've given the second task more thought since listening to it and realized I've made strides in the area, simplifying food prep to free up more time to do the things that I really want to do. Focus on that really want to do for a second. So bit by bit, she writes step by step, I'm able to give more attention to this task. I tend towards a certain strictness like you, because I do. You have expressed about your militancy, and if I make poor choices, I get the guilt for a minute. But this program is helping me keep my eye on the positive steps I'm making. For example, playing music 2 times a week and drawing 2 times a week, which I cut back from 3 times for each when I found it was a struggle to get that much in. I was talking about it's perfect. And on my extra busy week, I cut both back to 1 time a week, given that particular week. How cool is this? Those are my words. Back to hers. There was a smidge of, oh no, I'm going backwards. And then I stopped and told myself that I was taking care of myself by managing my steps according to other demands in my life. Then I felt much better, and I've moved back to 2 times each since my schedule let up. So thanks again for the program, the podcast, all that. So are you guys hearing this? She drops it back down, given a short-term craziness, and brings it back up. Removes the guilt, removes the shame, all this kind of stuff, and she's moving on. And how cool is that, right? Because that's the ticket. So how cool. I was just talking about this. She did a 2-day a week. That was her step. Okay, so Wendy. I really dropped the ball, even keeping up with my daily emails and reviewing my list. I did great the first half of the program and almost feel like I need to sign up again after the last 2 weeks. Okay, a couple people, this is the thing. A couple, literally, actually you're the second, but somebody else said I've fallen off. The reason why, and I told this other person, the reason why I'm cutting people off after 12 weeks is because it's the learning of my small step system is hinged on you guys learning how to find moments, grab moments, steal moments, as I say. Wendy, I don't know your schedule. I do know, 100% guarantee you without knowing your schedule, that you have time to take 30 seconds to read the daily email. I get my own daily emails. I signed myself up to the program, so I'm along with it with you guys because I want to be in the experience and kind of know where we're at on stuff. The emails at most 15, 20, 30 seconds tops to read that email. You have that time. And there's no judgment. That's what we're learning, is to figure out how to get 30 seconds. If you don't have time or feel like you've dropped the ball, you haven't dropped the ball. You're living in the world. That's what this struggle is about. So you're learning the small step system, how to maintain a step list, all these kinds of things. But really what you're learning on top of that is to grab moments for yourself to be who you are and to do nice things and self-care things for yourself, no matter how busy you are. What I suggested to this other woman is to add a step of reading 1 additional email each day. So she was on week 10 or whatever. So let's say she gets day 54's email. So on day 54's email, she reads day 54's email and also day 36 email. She adds an additional email on top of that email. That's 45 seconds or so of email reading. So it's a way to get caught up. The videos are 10 to 15 minutes. That is more substantial time. I get that, but that's just necessary to kind of teach you guys what this is about. And so all I can say to that is try to bank up some of the videos. It's okay. You don't have to like watch this video and then wait a week to watch the other video. Go back, take 10 minutes or take 5 minutes and watch that, chunk it up. So you do 5 minutes of the video in the morning and then you watch the last 5 minutes at night. So Sarah says, one thing I did was to set up an email label and folder and that they automatically went into. Okay, this is good. So Wendy, I'm going to close yours down. I'm going to go to Sarah. One thing I did was to set up an email label and folder and they automatically went into it. So she kind of filtered the email. That way, if I got behind, they were in one spot. Sid does a great job putting the day in the subject line so you know the order in which to read them. So again, these are, Sarah, that's a really brilliant thing, the way that we organize our lives. So Sarah puts it into a folder so that she doesn't have to search through her inbox or some weird thing and kind of search all those little moments that you don't have the frustration of like, oh, where's day 42? I can't find day 4. It just boom. Or you manually, when it comes in your inbox, you don't have time, drag it into your small steppers that says daily emails, boom. And later on that day, you know exactly where to get it. Sometimes the very time it takes to search for an email, you would have already read the email. This happens a lot with my children where I ask them to take out the compost or something. We're hippies, so we compost. So I go, take out the compost. And sometimes they're like, well, I'm doing this. And I go, the time that you just told me you didn't want to take the compost out, you could have already taken the compost out. To simplify things and just get that done means we actually probably save time overall than having to look for all that stuff. So that's a huge thing. Okay, so again, Kristen, I'm very happy you guys are shooting me this stuff. I struggled as well after life happened and everything turned upside down. If you know one thing about me, and you probably know more things about me, you will know that I am never selling anybody a struggle-free process. There's no BS here. This isn't like, you guys, 21 pounds in 21 days, and all you got to do is measure, count, and weigh. Because the fact of the matter is, there's struggle in that stuff too. They just don't talk about it. I'm very upfront about that. This is work. And to achieve health and happiness in this world, as I believe, this is how I feel, it is about the moments. It is about you stealing those moments for yourself. And this program in and of itself is about that. To get through this program, I'll put it this way, and this isn't to be negative, but if you can't get through this program, if you can't take 15, 20 seconds to read an email, then how do you expect post this program where this is structured and the emails are coming to you? All of a sudden this program's done, emails aren't coming into your inbox automatically. How are you going to expect in your life to achieve any improvement in your own health and happiness when all of a sudden nothing's being delivered to you? What happens is all of a sudden we go like, man, finally you hit this tipping point. You're like, I gotta change. And that's when you hit the diet. And that's when the yo-yo dieting things start. Don't stress. Look, who is telling me this? I dropped the ball, Wendy. I'm going to put something out here right now. And I probably just open up a can of Nutty Nut Nut, but I'm going to do this because it's very important to me. I didn't want to leave this open-ended because people will kick the can down the road and go, I'll get to the emails later. That's exactly the problem with how we can achieve health and happiness in the world is I'll kick that down the can. I'll kick that can down the road. But if you guys are kind of backed up and getting stressed and you want like a few more days or like a week more to sort of at the end catch up on videos before you move out into the world yourself, then you shoot me a freaking email, support@smallsteppers.com, and I will extend the end date of your thing. I'm happy to do that. I want you guys to succeed. I don't want you to finish this thing and be all a ball of like, now I failed at this. You are here at a live Q&A. You have not failed, period. You are engaged. People are doing it at different times. People have different lives where it's easy for them to do the weekly videos and they're right on the deal. But for some people, this is a 12-week program. It's a commitment. There's no doubt about that. So if you guys want a few extra days, I don't want you to stress out about it. I want my success, even with this program, is that you guys succeed at this long term. That makes me feel better as a practitioner. as a business owner, you're not going to go to somebody and go, you should sign up for this if you didn't get a good experience out of it. I have every vested interest in you guys 5 years from now shooting me an email going, man, this has been great. I've been kicking on it. I never needed you ever again, Sid. I don't like you much and I don't ever need you. And I turned off your podcast after week 12 because I got it now. That actually would oddly make me happy. I'd go like, that's the coolest thing in the world. Now we can go get an espresso together. Okay. So that's all I will say to you if you guys want a little extension. But I'm very careful about that because I don't want the extension to be the extension. Lorraine says, then it's, I'll get to my life later. When will that be exactly? That's exactly right. I mean, this is, there's a few big ticket items with regard to this program. One of them is I cut it off at 12 weeks because I need to, in a way, force you guys to go like, yeah, it is about the moments. Yeah, I just have to take 30 seconds while I'm waiting for my coffee to brew or my tea to heat up in the morning to read this little paragraph. I made those emails very small on purpose. So there it is. Yeah, I mean, that's the deal. So Lorraine says, honestly, I'm going to do all the videos again, just a run through before the end because I'm anal. It's not even anal. I mean, just that refresher. And that's just kind of the way I look at diets graphically is like you're living your life and then you just spike that diet or you spike that training plan and again, like you training for a race, that is the nature of that. Small Steppers is about this part of it, not about these parts of it. It's about this part of it. And I think that this program raises that baseline up over time, but it's little bits throughout the day for your whole day. It's not mutual. You can do that and hit spikes of training for a race or doing a whatever program or taking a class or going into back to school. But all the while, there's this nice little even thing. Well, this even thing is these moments. Right now, it's your daily emails and your weekly videos. Later, it's going to need to be, if you want to continue this process, deep breaths, meditation eventually, playing music, journaling, these everyday, the little everyday things. That's my whole thing. My thing is like, what are your little everyday things? And then that's the ball game there. Okay. Sarah says, I have found listening to the podcast as a great weekly reminder to keep thinking about my steps and supports the ideas even after the program ended. Okay. And great point. Thank you. Because I have a podcast and a YouTube channel, you guys. And I just started this thing on my YouTube channel where it's number one. I'm going to keep trying to do it. I call it the OMMW, the 1 minute midweek. And it's a 1 minute video in between my longer vloggy type stuff. I'm going to do 1 minute on, like, I think I posted it Thursday morning. That's just a little quick thing. That's on YouTube. So this program ends at 12 weeks. It's not like you can never see or be associated with me or the process. You totally can. I've been doing the podcast for 4 years and I have no plans to stop it. So you've got this podcast every week that'll totally keep you in it. You guys are already trained. You'll know a lot of the stuff I already talk about on the podcast, but it'll keep it in the forefront of your mind. So there's your freaking solution right there. Thanks. Kristen, it is funny, isn't it? On the one hand, change is not happening fast enough. On the other hand, 30 seconds of reading emails is sometimes too much. There you go. I mean, that's the thing, right? We go big ticket, losing weight, not happening fast enough. Sid, it's not happening fast enough. But then people are having a struggle with a 30-second email. And I'm going, yeah, start with a 30-second email. That's where your ball game is. You grow that and grow the journaling and grow the guitar playing and grow the whatever. The weight's going to come off because your overall stress is going to come down and your enjoyment of life is going to come up. And then you're in a better headspace, like the person who asked earlier about those mindless eating times. Those will start to decrease. Eventually, the weight will come off. And it is happening as fast as possible because you're in charge of saying, you know what, this step is so. I've told people, like, they go, I just stagnate like two squats. I mean, I just feel like I'm trying to keep it I go, why are you trying to keep it at 2 squats? Maybe you are so ready to go from 2 squats to a 30-minute run. I mean, go from 2 squat step directly to a 30-minute run or to a 30-minute walk. You are in charge. Like I say, it is everything that keeps you in that nice adaptive stress window. Too much, you burn out. Too little, you stagnate. So you are ebbing and flowing always to keep yourself in this nice adaptive, adding stress and work to your life, but not in a way that blows you out. And that's the struggle. I mean, that is the work of this process that I'm in, that you guys are in, and everything else. And right now, the system that you're learning in this 12 weeks is part of that process too. So thank you. Anita. even though I've missed quite a few videos, but I don't feel like a failure. You don't, because you're not. Look, so cool. You're not a failure. Look what anything that you're doing in this crazy life, in this 12 weeks, if you only see 3 of the videos, but now you're thinking about your life differently and you're kind of in this thing, then you're on your way. And listen, there's no sell here, you guys, but I foresaw this process because of when I was doing private clients. And this is what happens. Private clients I would work with for a month. And sometimes like a year later or 2 years later, their lives would change and they would call me and say, hey, can I jump back in with you? And I would say, sure. And we would just kind of retool the list and kind of get, just a reminder thing. So what I did is I created a thing called a stay in the game plan. For anybody that has been through this process, I don't lock anybody to contracts. I was very, very important to me not to do that. 5 years from now, if you finish this 12-week program, 5 years from now, you can email support@smallsteppers.com and say, hey, can I jump in for 1 month? You watch all the video. You don't have to wait for anything. It's all there because you've already seen it. All the extras, all the videos, you can rewatch everything, kind of retool, get your step list, and then boom, back out again. And that's the point of that. So it's not like you can never come in here, but I do need you guys to have some time on your own after this 12 weeks because you really can do it. But I want you to see that. And so I don't want anybody to go into the stay of the game on day, right after the last day of 12 weeks, because I want you to kind of to tool around on this yourself. I've gained so much from the videos and emails that I have watched. I remind myself to focus on what I've gained. I beat myself up too much and it ain't me. And end of the ballgame. I mean, if there's one through line of everybody I've ever worked with, and almost, I think entirely everybody who's been in this program so far, it is that, and me, is that we are so accustomed to just nailing ourselves, just critiquing and telling how much of a failure we are. We want the change. We want to improve our lives. And the thing that is stopping us is this in our heads of this messaging that we are not able to do this. And it's just simply not true. I want to, via the small steps that are action, remember the small steps and for people who are just joining this program, steps are not, I'm not going to do this. Steps are what I am going to do. And the reason for that is that it fills your life up with things now that you are accomplishing and doing. And that will move all the other negative stuff out. And it pushes it out. Instead of saying, I don't want to think about this anymore, I don't want to judge myself anymore, you just add more stuff in, and eventually that stuff moves away, and that's how you create that thing. Preach it, brother. Yeah, dang straight, Sarah. Sorry, I just yelled that. Okay, thank you. Joanna says, I love the podcast. Thank you. Jamie, really like the first 1 minute midweek video. Well shot. Great little check-in. Cool. Thank you, Jamie. Yeah, it was an idea I had. I was like, I vlog. My life's not that interesting. So like another vlog of me walking around in my driveway. I was like, but I want to do more on the YouTube thing. So I was like, I just want a little kind of a thing for people. And I got a really good response from it so far. I mean, just hands down, people are just liking that video. So cool. Thanks. And for you guys running through this program, there's your continual kind of thing. Stay in touch with me on this. Keep seeing what I'm putting out there, and it'll keep you in this process. Little point of business for anybody. I got an email from a tester who ran through the whole program. When she would log in, she said, one thing is just when I log in, I have to go to one of the videos before I have to click on one of the videos to get to the place where I can go to the Q&As. I said, that's not, what you're seeing is not correct. So she had to log out and log back in to see. When you log in, you go to your member page. It has your extras, Q&As, everything. Everything is there for you. And then down below that are all your videos. If you're seeing some kind of low budget page that just has your videos and nothing else, you're not on it's some weird glitch that I will look into and figure out, but log out and log back in, and it should be the correct thing. If anybody, no, I haven't got any reports otherwise, but just FYI on that. So anyway, okay, come on guys, give it to me. We're looking at, what are we at now? 34 minutes. Oh, Sarah, that happened to me as well. Yeah, they're just and I got one email from a woman in England. She was like, yeah, it's weird. I wish I could like see other stuff. I was like, you should be able to see other stuff. So I got to figure out what's going on there. But log out, log back in. If that doesn't work, try another browser. And if that doesn't work, shoot me an email right away and I'll figure out what's going on. I cannot nail down why it's happening. Some weird like cache issue or something. but it should work on your phone. I mean, I've logged into we did all this testing before I launched, so it just glitches happen, but phone works, iPads work. It's all mobile thing. Eventually, when this becomes so world famous, I will, hire a full-time web person. I had a weird display on one browser. Yeah, so it could be just some weird thing, but always log out, log back in. That to me has been the fix so far. That may be a Google Chrome issue. We can talk later. Yeah, I don't know. I use Google Chrome and it's always worked for me. But it could be a Chrome. And I know Sarah. Oh, now I know that's the Sarah. Sarah is the Google person. I got a whole pot today. Whole pot. Just boom. Whole pot. Not a whole pot. I mean, it's a half a pot, but I got I'm kind of just riffing here because you guys, if there's any more questions, bring them. I mean, this is it. Any questions about steps? Any questions about the first task for members that are maybe new? Has anybody here today just joined? Is this anybody? Somebody write down if this is your first live Q&A of the process, because I've had new members come in and I'm about to do a pretty good push in about a couple weeks with my buddy Matt Fraser, the No Meat Athlete. So hopefully we'll get a new slew. Remember, I haven't done any promotion here. I wanted to get you guys shuttled through and really work with a smaller group to make sure this is all good. And it's been great. Holidays. Sorry, it was so long ago. I mean, how am I supposed to remember what happened 5 minutes ago, Elizabeth? That's crazy. Okay, the holidays. I had a client one time a couple years ago who said to me, I'm going on a business trip. My lip is cured. It cured, thank goodness, the day before my video. Boom. Okay, so she said, what do I do? I'm going on a business trip for 4 days. What do I do? Because she had a step, at this point, had a step about food, had a step about exercise. And I said, okay, what you're going to do is write down. She goes, oh, write down what I'm going to do on the trip. I go, oh, no, I don't care about the trip. What do you mean? I go, I don't care about your trip is 3-4 days. You think I give a crap about what you're going to do for 3 or 4 days? Do whatever. If you do anything good for yourself on a business trip, fantastic. Write a letter. This is what I said. And this is a very good tool, but you can do it however you want. Write a letter to yourself for when you get back. Leave it on your table. When you walk back in your business trip and you walk back in your house, there's your letter. And you open it up and it goes, hey, Sid, dear Sid, listen, quick thing. You had this list going on before you left. You probably didn't do much of it on the business trip. That makes total sense. But now you're back. And so here's the things you want to kind of bring in. And maybe you don't bring them in all at once, but you kind of bring them in. I'm going to say the same thing for the holidays. First of all, holidays aren't for 3 months. They're for, a couple days here, Thanksgiving weekend, maybe it's 3 or 4 days, Christmas, Hanukkah, kind of, it's kind of thing. There's dinners, sure, but then what about the rest of the day where maybe you're eating a bunch of fruit, just kind of fresh stuff, because that night you're just going to be nutty nut because that's just what it is, and you don't want to miss out on that. Why would you? But all the while, you've got this letter for January 2nd that you open up and go, let's get back to business here. What happens is in other situations is we get in really good routines until something breaks it up, and then we never get back to it. I was exercising every day for 6 months, but then I went on vacation and I got back and I just got out of my thing. They're not small steppers because they're thinking to get back into their thing is to do exactly what they were doing before their vacation. Or before it got broken up. That's not the case. You may have to bring down your steps significantly after the holidays. You may have to decrease your overall steps. You may have to decrease individual steps to maintain consistency as a small stepper. And again, I'm going to sound like an overprotective parent. My goal is that you guys stick as small steppers forever. What that means is not that you're in this program forever, but that you're thinking this way forever. That means it's imperative to have a steps list no matter what. That means if you have to go down to one step on your list after your holidays or after your trip, so it goes. It'll come back up super fast if you stay engaged in the program. Who can't do one step of one deep breath per day? But that keeps you having a steps list. That is a doable thing by every human being on the face of this earth, because we all breathe anyway. All I'm saying is take one more intentional, deeper breath. You can do that. So Kristen, that's a great idea because I've been away for 2 weeks now and I'm back to normal. Okay, I'm going to post this one because this is, LS, just finishing week 1. This is my first webinar. Got the concept of increasing and decreasing steps. Okay, I'll get yours in a second because that's super cool too. So first, Kristen, that's a great idea because I have been away for 2 weeks and now I'm back to normal and could get back to everything, but it is so hard to get back to where I was before the 2 weeks. Yes. So I will say again, and I think if I haven't done an extras video on this, I'm going to do an extras video on this because, and I know I addressed this in one of the weekly videos, trips, breaks. I will do an extras video on this because this comes up a lot. We think, oh, now I'm back. I got to go right back to this. And we feel that stress. And the process of small stepping, you will get very clear and very aware of when you feel that kind of dread. That's your sign of, oops, okay, let me back off this temporarily. That is the very definition of success. So 2 things. 1, do an interim list when you get back that's a lot smaller just to keep you in the process. And all of a sudden, within a week or 2, you're back to what that list was, but you eased your way in. And 2, that letter writing. Remind you of who you are when you walk back in the door. Hey, dear Kristen, this is you writing yourself. Hey, dear Kristen, you're going to feel the pressure to do all the things you were doing before. Give yourself a freaking break. You just walked in the door. Let's just do a few deep breaths for a few days, and then we'll re-engage in this process later. Your old steps is waiting. It's not going to go anywhere. You can bring that back in whenever you're ready. How is that not a healthier thing than you walking in feeling crappy about yourself for the next 3 months because you never did the things that you were doing before your list? You're not going to grow that way. You're going to stagnate and just feel bad about yourself all the time because of some weird idea of failure. This keeps you forward momentum in a very, very real way. Oddly, by decreasing steps, you're in a forward momentum. It's just how it is. I'm going to pop into Lorraine's one because I hadn't done it. I'm sitting here having some kick-ass coffee. I like to check out recommendations from aficionados. I love it. I've been recommending it too. My favorite coffee. They're the only ones that have rivaled my own roasting because I roast at home. And they're the only ones that have been as good as the ones that I roast. Think about that. It means nothing to anybody. Okay, so LS. Just finishing week 1. This is my first webinar. Good. Thank you for coming. Please attend and watch the old Q&As too. Got the concept of increasing, decreasing steps with the ebb and flow of life. But how do you get past the feeling that you are small stepping in a circle? Okay, so this is a really good question because if you go up and then you go down and then you go up and then you go down and you're like, okay, well, I'm just doing this. That may be fine. I've had the same music step for 2 years and I am okay with it. Again, what you're going to wrap your head around, I'm just going to call you LS because I don't know what your name is. What you're going to wrap your head around is that this is about how happy you are. You will understand very quickly that some steps will grow. Not all steps will grow. Some steps will just be what they are. That Sarah's art step may forever be 15 or maybe it goes up to 30 minutes on a Saturday morning, and that just fits in her life and she loves it and she looks forward to it. She never dreads it, and that's what that is, and it stays. And I think that's amazing. And eventually it'll come off her list because she just does it every Saturday and doesn't think about it. But other things, steps, especially things like exercise, are a no-brainer. I will tell you this also, LS, that it is very easy to up a step if you understand the way that a small stepper thinks. You are now a small stepper. And here's what I mean. Going from 1 deep breath to 2 deep breaths is an increase of a step that virtually most people can do. Now, if that stresses you out, don't do that. But I'm just saying most people can. We think if I'm doing 5 squats a day and I want to increase that step because it's pretty easy, I got to go to 10 or 15. But you could go from 5 to 6. And you're talking of a differential of, 2 seconds, literally 2 seconds. Maybe less to do 1 squat. So you can continue that forward momentum in a way that is so minuscule, even in the way that you increase it, that you are continually increasing it. And over time, how I've described small stepping is there's like an ebb and flow, but it's not an ebb and flow like this. It's an ebb and flow like this. So you're upping and downing, but overall you're up. And that's the way that you will see this. You're in week 1. Don't change a thing that you're doing. I'm glad you asked that question, but hang, because you're going to see these things kind of materialize. Hang back. You're learning the system in this 12 weeks. You're not trying to get a weight loss result. You're learning the system of this. Have people gotten results? Of course. Listen to the time and time again, people saying I'm not beating myself up. That's the biggest result I could ever hope for you guys. Eventually, weight loss will come and all that kind of stuff. But for now, learn the system and just hang and remember these questions are great. You will not be in a circle. Overall, you will see overall growth if you continue to be engaged in this process. Some steps will just what they are, and other steps will grow and change and go back, and it's just kind of the way of the world, the way of the small steppers world. Okay, cool. Lorraine, and we're getting close to finishing up, you guys. Jeez, this time went fast for me. You guys are like, yeah, it's kind of. Just realized that here that I'm ready to up my breath step to every half hour from once every hour. I'll reset my phone alarm as soon as we're done today. Good. So I don't know if you're using the AIDI app, and there may be other apps. I don't know. That one is free, and I like it. It's just been really good for me. But mine says move in all caps, move. So I've been running the stairs. I do some push-ups. I do some squats, whatever. I've been more regimented. Like I do push-ups every hour. Now I just free for all. If I run the stairs or I do some squats or lunges, I just mix it up, whatever I feel like doing in the moment. But I've been doing that great every hour. And it reminds me, like, if this is how dorky I am. I'll be in town sometimes doing like the mail for the Stanford Inn, and my alarm will go off, and I'll just run from the bank to the mail through town with like the bank bag, and I'm like running through town. I'm going, people must think I'm nuts. But it's like a 20-second run, and it feels amazing. And I get to the bank, and I'm like, it just feels great. So having that on your radar. Lorraine, you could go eventually to every 15 minutes. I mean, you could go two breaths every half hour. You could go to 5 breaths every hour. We're in charge. Feel it out. Every step you put is you're feeling it out. But it's really cool for Lorraine. She's not increasing the amount of breaths each step. She's increasing the frequency. And that's another way to do that. You guys, you could do 1 minute of journaling 3 times a day instead of upping 1 minute of journaling to 5 minutes of journaling, because maybe you can't get a 5-minute chunk. It's real. That happens. I mean, today I got up early. I went for a run with my training partner, Sid, walked in the door, and it was like kids for soccer. And I mean, I didn't have a minute. I mean, I did not have a minute. I was making smoothies and toast and getting the thing and packing the car and getting out of the car and driving to soccer. I mean, it was not a single minute. So there are chunks where you cannot get that done. But in the car on the way to soccer, took some deep breaths, grabbed them, boom. My son and I were listening to music, started deep breathing. So I just know where to look. And that's what I'm training you guys, is to know where to look. Most people say, well, I had to drive the kids to soccer. I was too busy. I couldn't get anything done. Of course you could. You could do some deep breaths in the car. You could absolutely get that done. That does change your mindset every time. It really, really, really does. All right, you guys. 47 minutes. I think I'm going to shut this puppy down. I'm going to wait for 1 more minute. I like to keep these Q&As on the under an hour because they're archived. I don't want somebody to have to sift through these things. Lorraine says, yep, I think I'm used to the alarm every month. It's normal now. Now it's time to inch it up. Good. Maybe it'll accelerate or maybe not. Probably, but no stress. There it is. I mean, as you're attached to this process, you gauge yourself of going, and I'll end by saying this. It's not that you never dread. Yeah, AIDA. Here, I'll type it in here. But that's what it is. AIDA. I got what you meant, hourly. There will be some days where you sort of dread the 5 minutes of journaling. I mean, one-offs. But again, in the most of the time mindset of small steppers, we go, well, I dreaded it today, but the last 2 weeks I've had no problem with the 5 minutes. No problem, right? Okay. I got over my fear and bought a guitar. I think I emailed you. Did you email me? Anyway, play one chord. Freaking great, Anita. Jam it. Sarah says, do people know about your manifesto? It's another great tool for someone who wants to read something in print. Yeah, I mean, I have a couple books, and again, like that whole thing that I do is all part of the same mission, which is to get people to take it easy on themselves. We have a rough go here in this world. I think many of us are doing great. There's incredible people out there. You guys are included in them, and let's just not get bogged down by negative stuff, because that's not helping anybody. It's not helping you, not helping your family, nothing. Anita, you rock. Anita does. Watch this. This is Anita. She's Eddie Van Halen on the finger. I'm wasting time. All right, you guys. You guys are awesome. Next week's Q&A is happening. You'll get a notice as you do an email announcing the day and time. In the meantime, enjoy your weekend, you guys. Thank you for joining me. And this will be archived relatively soon in your members' site. Keep up, you guys. Deep breath for everybody.